We're live. Welcome to Crown
Hey,
Council
what's up,
Live.
Drew?
What's up?
Good day.
Good day. Hey, so here we are, Crown Council Live. Steve, welcome. Dallas, how's beautiful Dallas?
Hey, well, it's Texas today. Any of you that follow me on Instagram will know that my Steve's feature this week was complaining about the weather. There's a lot more productive things to do to complain about the weather. So I am not complaining about the weather today. Today is a beautiful, no clouds in the sky, sunny day in Texas, as it is most days here. So
Lovely.
it's
Very
awesome. And you're probably getting covered up in snow in Utah.
We are, yeah. They passed the 485 inches at Alta of total snow.
Holy smokes.
So they're already 100 inches over like the normal amount, whatever normal is. But yeah,
that's awesome, man. You need it.
We're ready. Come on.
Need it.
As long as it doesn't all melt in one day, we're going to be
one day, and hopefully it all ends up in the empty reservoirs in Lake Powell and Lake Mead and all the places where we're in crisis situations. So
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hey, great show we're looking at today. We've got a lot of fun guests, one recorded segment. But before we jump into that, I wanted to make sure that everybody is aware of kind of what's next on our radar. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
This is our Dental Digital Marketing Conference that's taken place for the last 9 years. So sometimes it's live, sometimes it's been recorded and played. But this year, 2023, we're going to be in Las Vegas, April 21st and 22nd. This is an awesome opportunity to get together and learn from industry leaders when it comes from what's happening in all things dental marketing. So I know that the term here is dental digital marketing, but there are speakers and presenters from the stage that apply to all things dental marketing. And this is Steve, who would attend this event if you were going to invite someone to attend?
So I would definitely say whoever's responsible for promoting the practice, and Dennis ought to be there because you're driving the ship here in terms of your marketing strategy, how you're positioned in the community. So I would want at least 2 people from the practice, because we're going to do some interactive planning and strategizing. So having somebody to work with in your practice would be great. But this is all about strategy, and it is what's changing, what's going on now that you ought to be aware of if you're going to market your practice and keep it positioned appropriately. So a must.
A must. I agree. One of those moving targets that we'll talk about next week is, how do I get seen on Google? What does my practice need to be doing to be coming up first on those searches, which is always a moving target. No, we're always learning new things about how to be seen on Google. So that's just one thing.
I'll just give you just 2 examples. I was working with 2 practices this week, and we were going through their numbers and talking about where the biggest areas of opportunity are. And we were talking about new patients, and I asked both of them, I said, so what do you do for marketing? And the response from both of them was, well, not really anything. I mean, it's all word of mouth, which is great. That's what you want. Word of mouth drives dentistry. And in the wake of everything that's going on with dental insurance and, declining reimbursement rates, inflation going up and rising costs and the whole deal, more and more practices are going out of network. And if you're going to do that, you got to have a solid marketing plan to drive new patient growth. So becoming more, even a bigger priority than it's ever been.
Very cool. All right. Sign up, get your plans to go to Vegas. And another thing that's happening, I wore my mint.
Oh, your whitening shirt. Stand up because you can't see it. You got it.
It's my mint green.
You got your Smiles for Life shirt on. Whiten your smile, baby.
So
whiten your smile.
We're taking Smiles for Life orders now. Whitening orders should be in. T-shirt orders should be in. Everything that's happening right now for Smiles for Life. I mean, we are ramping up, less than a month away from big kickoff for March 1st. So if you do not have whitening order, go to crowncouncil.com and find the Smiles for Life hub and start place your order with Ultradent now. So you'll have it by March 1st. So very good.
Cool. It's exciting time. Smiles for Life 2023.
We're going to 50 million. This is the year. We're going to do it. Hey, we got Chris Taconas in the waiting room. We're going to welcome her in. Yep. Tops coach Chris is going to join us from the road, but we're going to do 2 segments with her. Ask a Coach. And then she's with a great team today. So we're going to invite her team to join us. Hey, yo.
There they are.
Hey.
What's up, ladies?
What's up?
All right, so quick intro. This is Dr. Jana Jarina. And Chris, who do you have with you right behind you?
This is Jean, her
Jean.
stellar office manager.
Excellent. So Jean and Jana and
Yeah.
Chris, and this is Madison, Wisconsin's dentist, the dentist in Madison, Wisconsin. And I know that because that's on the homepage of your website, Dr. Jarina.
Nice.
So here's just a little bit of context for everybody. I have always considered Jana Jarina to be a super dentist, amazing clinical skills. This is a team who's doing cosmetics, implants, pain treatment, TMJ. I won't share your numbers with everybody, Jana, because that's your business, but this is a top performing practice.
Nice.
They are top of their game, and I would put them up as an example to any practice in America of just being just amazing. They do so many things right. So in fact, Dr. Jarina, I was not even expecting you today because the reputation is like, once you start in the morning, you don't stop. I mean, you're just.
Well, guess what today is? It's a huge snow day and everything's closed.
Oh, nice.
It's here.
Today. Perfect.
And so I am about to prep some teeth, but I'm going to do this first.
I am so well. I'm sorry it's a snow day. It's probably driving you crazy because
it's actually great because we're able to utilize Chris and we have a new hygienist. So she spent like 2 hours with her during her cancellations, and we're having her do some one-on-one training that we don't have the opportunity to do normally because we are very busy. So
yeah, fantastic. Well, turn lemons into lemonade on the snow.
Ooh.
If Dr. Jana was a car, she would be a Maserati.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
With the gas fully going.
All right, so
Nice.
Chris, with the pivot today, what's been the focus today?
Just like Dr. Jana was saying, it allowed me to have some one-on-one time that I don't typically get when it's hands-on, that amount of time. So she has a new stellar hygienist, and we sat down and we went over the new patient relationship form, how she can do a better emotional exam with new patients in her treatment room, as well as how to respond to patients that are talking about what their other dentist did, what she's finding, and how that's different. So it allowed us to really tackle some things that she didn't have a chance in another scenario to be able to ask me and for us to role play that.
Nice, fantastic. All right, so in case people don't know, Chris Taconis is one of our TOPS coaches. And Chris, you and I have worked together for now 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You
Don't date
have-
yourself, guys.
It's been a long time.
It's been a day or two.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about this in a minute, but I affectionately refer to Chris as the verbal skills queen.
She is, yes.
Amazing.
100%.
And Chris, you've been in and out of well over 1,000 practices in your career, easy. So you get a minute to brag on Dr. Jarina and her team. What do they do compared to everybody else you've seen? What do they do that other practices ought to just sit up and pay attention to say, man, if we could do it like they do it, it'd be it would be amazing. What do they do that's great?
Well, first of all, whenever we have a training day, we block out the whole day to totally focus with the team. Everybody knows what's expected. Dr. Jana makes that clear so that everybody's engaged. And this lady is the best student. She has a book filled, right, Jean?
Yes.
Of copious notes that she's taking, not just to close that book. She keeps it open. We work through how to implement that, even to the point, this morning, they surprised me at their morning opportunity meeting. And the young lady, Emma, who was facilitating, pulled out her skill cards, and they're reading a skill, their top skill cards. They're reading a skill every morning at the end of the morning opportunity meeting to reflect on what that skill is supposed to be, how we are supposed to implement that on top of what they've been doing in the past with the skill of the week. So I thought that was really cool because it was something different that they've incorporated, and it keeps things fresh. And
I need lots of reminders of things. So it's really great because then it's like, oh, yes, okay, now we end, the meeting with that, and then we all have it on the forefront of our brain and we're ready to roll for the day.
Amazing. Consummate
Nice.
learner. I suspect,
absolutely.
Dr. Drini, you've been that way your whole life. You probably had that notebook when you were 5 years old.
No, actually, no,
Volumes.
no.
All right.
Chris helps with that though. So
All right. So here's the question, Dr. Drini, for you and, for your team. You're a top performer. If I could tell everybody what you guys do there, jaws would drop.
especially that it's a Delta practice, right?
All right. So you got it dialed in. So why does a top performer like you guys, why do you have a coach? I mean, you could argue you guys got it figured out. You got it dialed in. You're cranking it out. Why do you have a coach?
I mean, I think in order to stay leading edge, you have to have a coach. I think of people like Tony Robbins, who is a personal coach to some of the most successful and influential people in the country, if not in the world. And I mean, just like any sports team, we all talk about that. You have to practice, you have new team members. And when you don't have new team members and you have a great existing team that you've had, you still have to fine tune and tweak things, because with the hustle, I mean, we just always want to be better, always want to improve. And I don't think you're going to do that unless you have coach.
100%. Okay. So Jean, you ready
Yeah.
for a question?
Sure.
You and Dr. Drini have worked together how long?
Well, I'll be here a year at the end of this month.
But it
Okay.
seems like 10 years because of
All right.
every business manager I've ever had, no one even comes close to Jean.
Sure.
And we all
Okay.
say,
This is not your first dental gig.
No, it
No,
is
no,
not.
no,
I've been
no.
in the
don't
business
even say how long.
for just a short amount.
We're not talking about years here.
Okay. So comparatively speaking, Jean, what makes your practice different? You get a lot of others to compare it to. What's the difference?
I feel like this is the first time I've truly worked with a team. When you work in a dental office, you tend to have a front and you have a back, and we don't have that here. We are all one team. We all jump in. We all know what's expected. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. And it's the first time I've had a dentist invest not only in me as an employee, but as the whole team. And I think having Tops be part of that, and Chris as a coach, is amazing. It's more than I've ever had anywhere else.
Very cool. Right answer.
That's the one thing.
Yeah, good answer.
I
Don't
know.
lie.
She wants a raise.
This is a performance review.
Yeah. One other thing I was going to say is, not many people are born leaders. And certainly, when you're in school, you don't really learn any of this. You don't learn business, you don't learn this, and you get busy. And, I just think that by having Chris and by having you guys, it helps you become a better person, become a better leader.
For sure.
So yeah, I just wanted to add that.
Nice. Very
Well,
good.
and Steve and Stu, they don't like to brag on themselves, so I get to do it.
Here we go.
No, this is the chance I get to brag. It's the ability that amidst all of the CE hours that this lady does, and all the mastermind groups and all the commitments that she makes, it would be easy for her to say, I don't have time to invest in my team. I don't have time to do these skills in the practice. I don't have time. I don't have time. Because that's a lot of it could be true.
Right.
Yet, her main goal is that she wants the team to feel successful. She wants to continue to set new goals, to challenge herself and get past those goals. Having Jean on board, I've watched the relationship grow, and using their communication skills that they learn from us.
Yeah.
They've used them. They use them, and they use them to communicate better as leaders in the practice. And so they won't brag on that, but I get to, because I see the results.
It's a
Okay.
daily walk.
Yeah.
Daily deal.
We
Okay.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, very much.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys are amazing, and we appreciate being part of your whole success team. All right. So one of our favorite segments, I will confess, I love doing this. Ask a coach.
Oh, God.
And so
You ready, Chris? Ask a coach.
ask a
Yes.
coach. All right,
Yes.
Chris, you ready for this week's question?
Sure.
All right, she's
Am
on the
I?
seat.
Sure.
Uh-oh.
All right, what's the difference between a reason for not moving ahead, an objection, right? An objection to treatment that's just like, can't do it, and a buying signal?
Love this.
Tell us about the difference, because this is one that
Say that
gets
question again. Can you say that question again?
Okay, so what's the difference between an objection, like a reason for I can't get the I'm not I can't move ahead, versus a comment or question that really is a buying signal? So it's like it may be a question that appears like it's an objection, but it really is the patient saying, I'm ready to do this. I just have some questions. So can you differentiate those two? Because that is a common mistake that gets made. So what, Chris, what's the difference between the two?
So whenever we have a patient that shares an objection, it's always, not almost always, not sometimes, it's always because they don't have enough information to make that decision and move forward. So there's some kind of obstacle that's standing in their way. Maybe they don't know that we have financial arrangements. So the first thing out of their mouths is, I can't afford it. So it's typically something they'll say because they don't have enough information yet, or think we're able to do to help them get past that. Now, a buying signal can be misinterpreted as an objection, in my opinion. I see this happen a lot with team members where they immediately think it's an objection. It's instead a question that a patient will ask that's really them saying, I'm ready to buy, I'm ready to move forward. I just need more clarity.
All
So
right. Give us an example.
Yeah, like what?
Ask for that. I want an example.
Coaching live. Here we go. Coaching live. Get out your notebook, Dr. Dorina.
So I'm gonna be like
this is
this.
how our day is. And what's interesting, Dr. Jana doesn't know this, but I've had this experience with her stellar assistant, who's a rock star. Her name is Amber. And she always has a list ready for me when I arrive. And we've tackled this before. She was interacting with a patient that was interested in ortho. And Amber did a fantastic job, found out the patient's M&M, what mattered most. And then the patient said something that was really interesting. That was a buying signal. And she said, what is the cost? Now, that could easily be misinterpreted as an objection, right? Because our mind goes where?
Oh, they can't.
They can't afford it, or we start making assumptions. But instead, when we talked about it, I said, is that an objection, or was she finding out more information because she's ready to buy? And the light bulb went on. And that's when Amber understood that was a buying question. And in fact, when she went back to the patient and said, well, tell me more about what's the most important thing that you know about the total cost. And she was talking about how to fit it into the budget, all those things with the patient. Patients started that day. They started and move forward. And it's the ability to really better define when a patient is asking a buying question. Another way in hygiene is a patient, instead of saying, I don't want to talk about fluoride right now, or I don't want fluoride today because my insurance won't cover it. That's an objection, right?
We don't give them an option. We just say, what flavor would you like?
That's right. Which flavor do you want?
Yes, or melon.
Great. A buying signal that this team has heard has been, do you think I need fluoride? What do you think I should do?
Nice.
And in my opinion, that's a buying signal. That's not an objection. So
They're looking for more information. So, Chris, would it be safe to say that if I shifted my mindset to say, anytime I get a question, especially any kind of a question from a patient, that my mindset should be, they're looking for more information to see how they can make this work. If that's my mindset, then I'm going to approach it very differently than if I think that question is a stop sign.
absolutely. If you go in thinking that a no is going to happen, you're going to get a no. And shift your soundtrack
Nice.
How much is it going to cost? Well, it's a lot.
Well, in the Midwest, we say spendy.
It's
They're not,
Bendy.
they're not allowed to say that here and they don't. So that's a good one.
I love it.
Not more than
Okay.
a car.
Nice,
I would say
Chris.
it's not more than a car. It's not more than
There you go.
an expensive car.
And you get
And you're
more-
gonna get a lot more mileage out of it than you get.
Yes, exactly,
That's good.
exactly. Yeah.
Great insight. Thank you for that. Difference between an objection and a buying signal. Great point of differentiation, not one that most pick up on. So got us thinking, Chris. Thank
Nice,
you.
Chris.
And Dr. Jarina and Jean, thank you
Thank
Thank
you.
for sharing your snow day with us.
I know.
Absolutely.
It turned out so beautifully, and I'm so glad that you were able to break away from all your training today to share your genius with us. I wish I could just bring everybody into your office for a day so they could see how you all operate. Everybody would have their notebooks open and scribbling furiously because of all the amazing things you guys do. So thanks for sharing with us today.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
Okay.
Thanks,
Stay warm and
Thanks.
stay dry.
Thank you.
She's off.
Bye.
Maserati is gone.
There you go.
She's out. She's out.
All right.
Thanks,
Chris.
Chris. Fun. Dang, what a great practice.
It's amazing.
That's a great leader.
It is an amazing practice.
Very cool. Hey, we got Matt in the waiting room. Let's bring him in. You ready,
Matt
Matt?
Granados.
Matt's been texting me. Am I in the right spot? Am I in the? He said he waited for 10 minutes in the wrong waiting room yesterday. So here he is. We're grateful to have Matt back. He joined us, man, Steve, what, 3 or 4 weeks ago? Right at the turn of the new year, Matt came and shared some tips for goals. And what up, Matt? Welcome back.
What's going on?
What's
Happy to be
going
here.
on? Man, this setup, it just fills my
Broadcast
heart.
Central.
It is.
Granados Broadcast.
Hey. What Target will do for you on a
Yeah.
quick drop in the middle of COVID, you got to
I don't.
innovate.
I also
Yeah.
feel like that. I feel like that haircut is not a filter. That looks real.
Actually, it is a filter. I haven't showered in 4 days. All of this. I might have been wearing a shirt. We've really figured it out here.
You. That's fun.
So, hey, for those who do not know,
Uh-huh.
Matt Granados is a trainer extraordinaire, St. Louis, Missouri, works all over the country with companies on the area of motivation. So Matt is a strategist on motivation, goal setting, and performance. And Matt and I have known each other for a long, long time. I had a nice reunion with your parents a week and a half ago, Matt.
Every
they
year.
were at the Crown Council annual event. Matt and I first met when he came through Eagle U
Nice.
15, right, Matt?
Yes, sir.
15. And he's just been an amazing example of somebody who just latched onto the principles and has leveraged those in his life, both personally and professionally, to get some amazing results. He is a consummate entrepreneur. And one of the things that I appreciate most about Matt is he is on our faculty at Eagle U, which is our week-long youth leadership program that we do for high school and college students. It's a nonprofit education foundation that puts this on. And Matt comes back every year to share not only the principles that we teach at Eagle U, but how he has applied them since he first learned them. And so I always love, Matt, listening to you because you're an encyclopedia of application and
Thank you.
implementation. And so thanks for joining us today. I know you're hot off the road. I think you were just with a client, right?
Yeah, we've had 3 people about to have a baby coming soon. So we really pushed our local impact, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So I am not allowed to get on a flight. Let's put it that way. I got a 4-hour radius I'm
Good
allowed to
idea.
go to right
Nice.
now.
And, just to prove Matt's genius, Matt and his wife Maria ran Eagle U for several years for us. She is one of the most capable people I've ever worked with, and Matt recognized that.
Upgrade.
Introduced them, and they got an amazing family, one on the way, and I'd love to have just like a hidden camera at your house, Matt. We could do a reality show with your whole crew. Would be a blast.
That has been talked about. We just it would not be. I don't think we'd come out on the good side. I haven't seen that work so well for people. Let's put it that way.
You got it. Okay, so Matt, I got 10 questions that are applicable to everybody watching today, not just for high school and college students, but whatever your walk is in life, however old you are, they apply to the office, they apply personally. Just a little bit of a taste of some of the principles that we talk about Eagle U. So you get the first question. You ready?
I'm ready.
Biggest goal setting mistake that people make. Go.
Man. Okay. We're going to go rapid fire with this and go give quick answers. But just a quick story behind this. I was just with a client. This client is about a $40 million company, a drilling company. I'm sorry. When I asked them what is their goal this year,
wait, drilling company. You're not talking about teeth, right? You're talking about oil.
No. I'm talking like you need a sewer.
Gotcha. Okay, that kind of drill. All right,
like sure. Big. I forgot who we're talking to. Sorry, guys. But anyway, I said, "What are your goals for this year?" And it was to grow as big as we can.
Oh boy,
that was it.
Yeah.
So somehow, as we sat down and broke this down with him, I told him this exact concept. And I said, well, what are your core values? And he said, we don't have core values. I said, yes, you do. And everybody does. So the biggest mistake that I found that people make with goals is they don't take the time to connect them to their core values. And I call this kind of supercharging your goals. And the image I like to paint is it's like a car battery. Like when a car battery is hooked up properly, where there's this positive and negative, it's very, very powerful. And when it's not, it's just a very heavy paperweight. So what we do is we say, what are your desires and your wants? And we attach them back to your core values and your strengths. And now all of a sudden, I have found people feel really uncomfortable when they go against their core values. Therefore, they follow through with their goals.
Okay. So in the example of the client you're just working with and growth was one of their goals, what core value did you tie that back to?
We tied that back to impact. They really didn't want to put a dollar amount to the goal because they care about their community. They care about what they do. And I mean, it's a very blue collar company, but just super caring for I love working with them. So every time I try to put a dollar amount to it, they would go against it. So when we said, what about the impact you're having and connecting the revenue growth to show the impact that you're having? And are you having a bigger impact this year than last year?
Got it. Makes sense.
Cool.
That now the goal has that much more meaning.
Oh,
it's tied to something they're passionate about.
And it's all about what the individuals actually want. And how do we connect that to the goal that they set? It doesn't always do it naturally.
Love it. Okay, we're going to shift gears. You ready?
Yes, sir.
One of the things we talk about at Eagle U, especially with our college students, is job interviews. And there's so many things that are misunderstood about job interviews. So here's the question. What is the most dreaded job interview question and how to answer it?
So the most dreaded, when you start interviewing people, it becomes your favorite, if that makes sense.
If you're the interviewer.
which side of the table you're on, but it's just an open-ended question to see where they take you on this wild journey of just tell me about yourself.
And everybody hates that question. Everybody hates it that has to answer it because nobody knows how to answer it. And
yes,
and it's like the best question ever if you're the one being interviewed, if you know how to answer it. Yeah. All right. So one of the things we talk about, Matt, as you know, at Eagle U is the formula for tell me about yourself. And the formula is goal, accomplishment, goal, accomplishment, goal, accomplishment. In other words, everybody's looking for someone who can get results. So the best way to demonstrate that you're somebody who can get results is to give 3 examples. You can give more, but 3 examples of how you set a goal and then how you went about accomplishing that goal. So give me three separate examples of here's a goal I set, here's what I did, here's what I accomplished, and then just repeat that 3 times. You do that in that ought to take you maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And by the time you get done with that, man, the other person is going to have a very clear picture that you are a purpose-driven person and you know how to get results. So
the part that's
if you're interviewing, which many of those watching today, you're doing interviews, it's a great question to ask. I know everybody hates it. And occasionally, not very often. Have you ever found anybody, Matt? You interview a lot. Have you ever found anybody that knew how to answer that question correctly?
No. No, and then what I do is I see how do they deal in conflict. That's I start watching. How can they handle when because I know what I'm looking for. And what I also found, this is the part, Steve, I didn't say this, and I know we're on a quick schedule, but I talked to that drilling company at 7:30 in the morning. And then at 9 o'clock, I had to speak at the hardest audience I've ever spoken at. My daughter's elementary school about leadership, but this school is specific. It's a Stephen Covey school. Right. So it has all their curriculum. They asked me to come speak on leadership. And I go to get there. And Maria asked me, what are you going to talk on? You don't talk to kids. And I did the exact same talk with this multi-million-dollar company as I did with the kids, which is just what's so awesome. For those who don't fully understand Eagle U, Steve, and I think it's so beautiful, is we don't sugarcoat this stuff.
Right.
Like the same stuff we teach these students. So I've never heard anyone answer that correctly for me. But there's other, I give a little grace on that one because it is a difficult question if you don't know the strategies that we teach at Eagle U. But when you know them, it's just, it blows people away. Even just conversation starters for kids to be able to talk to adults, to speak like that about, tell me about yourself. Well, I like sports. Okay. Anything else?
The one I always get in response, Matt, is when I ask that question, they'll say, well, what do you want to know? And I just say, whatever you want to tell me. So, all right, next question. This is one of your favorites. This is a Matt Granado's favorite question.
Yes.
Because you refined this, you became a master at this. We could take an hour just to tell all your stories around this. All right, the secret to getting the job you want that few people ever do. So if you have a young person for a job, what is the secret to getting the job you want that very, 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 very few people do it?
So this would fall under our category of interviewing for information. So what this is, the simplest way to put it is find people who have done what you want to do and ask them how they did it.
Nice.
And you just listen.
Copy genius.
Yeah, it's something that has gotten me into positions I never thought I'd be able to get into. It's something that has saved me from making terrible decisions of continuing to pursue those positions that I thought I wanted. It is something that as a human is helpful, but as a young person specifically, it's like we have a free key to anywhere, right? Like I couldn't get the same meetings I got when I was 15 as I can now, and people want to pour into it. So when we teach students, hey, just do your research and then go meet someone who's done it and then ask them how they did it. And they usually, the people we interview in those situations, right? The mentors or the geniuses of it, man, they pour out information that people would never find elsewhere. So it has absolutely transformed my life. I still use it today. Like it's
Absolutely.
still,
and that's one of my favorite sessions we do at EUU is Mentor Day. It's near the end of the week, and we pack the hall with over 60 different mentors from different fields, and the students have the opportunity to interview them, copy genius. It is a transformative experience. It is so much fun to watch the light bulbs, and the mentors get a lot out of it as well. So it goes both ways. It's great. Okay, Stuart, you get number 4. You ready?
Yes, I'm coming in. Tag me.
We're shifting now into study skills.
Okay.
All right. This is something we teach at Eagle U, how to get better grades. So the question is, what is the highest energy food for studying? And I'll give you a quick hint. It is not an Oreo.
Highest energy. So I'm going to partake of this food to be a better studier.
To be at higher octane level for
Matt,
study.
do you know the answer to this?
I go every year to the program, so it's taken me 15 years to learn it, but I got it by now.
Oh, man. I don't know, Steve. I have no idea. A piece of fruit. I don't know.
Close. You're in the right category.
Okay.
It's a round fruit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the answer is
A kiwi.
grapes.
Grapes. All right.
Yes, grapes. So if you've got an insulin, if you've got a blood sugar counter, grapes will immediately
Nice.
Spike your blood sugar, but it's immediate energy.
Mm-hmm.
Immediate energy because they're so easily digested. You know what one of my favorites is? Frozen grapes.
Ooh.
Frozen grapes are awesome. They're like
Okay.
candy. They're great. The worst thing you can do, which is where, if you want, stock up on Cheetos and your brain's going to shut down. I'm sorry. Cheetos and Doritos ain't going to fly.
Absolutely.
All right. Number 5. Matt, here we go. 25%. What is the 25% studying effectiveness increase secret? So if you want to increase your study time and your studying effectiveness by over 20%, 25%, what's the secret?
This is what we call our cell phone parking lot. These things, even us as adults, we tend to say these are our productivity tools, and that's just not the case. We don't spend $1,000 to be more productive. If we did, we'd be much better off, but I'm telling you, it's not. And if you don't believe me, look on your battery use, and it will tell you how you're using your productivity tool.
Yeah, how much time you spend on all the different apps you have on your phone. Yeah.
So the cell phone parking lot basically comes from this concept of switch cost, which Steve kind of talked into. And there was a study done about how you lose 25% efficiency every time you switch a task. That's switching off a task and then switching back on it. So we walk the students through the simplest way to do it is just take this thing and put it away from you. Another room.
In a different room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely off. And honestly, some of us adults, we want to fix some of the stuff in our lives, like our relationships. Maybe we should do the same thing. I mean, this is a valuable, recognizing how much these things are pulling on us, our attention, our energy, everything. And there's very little benefit from it, right? The risk reward is very high. So teaching that to the students is something that we found just allows them to sit through. And then it's funny because I get feedback from the students and they try it and they realize that 30 minutes or 45 minutes or hour of studying was more effective than all the studying they've ever done all semester, because it's really hard to study a book when your phone's in front of your face, right? Or you're getting all the dings that you're hearing, even in my background. So absolutely sitting down, cell phone parking lot, put it somewhere away from you outside the room. I would even encourage families to start doing that. If you want to spend time with your family, get these things away, physically distant from you.
100%. Nice. Okay, continuing on with we're a couple more study skills things. Studying is a habit, right? So what is the best way to create a consistent study habit?
So as creatures of habits, we need routine. And our muscle memory is what allows us to function at the highest level. That's why when you wake up, you tend to do the same thing over and over again. So when we're doing this, any goal setting, but studying specifically, is studying at the same time every day. So having a set time, I'm going to study at 4:00, 4 to 5. And your brain, it's almost like we have this weird thing called a biological clock, right? We've all heard about these things, but no one teaches how to actually leverage them the way we do at Eagle U. So that's why we love bringing these students in. But yes, setting a time, same time every day, even if we can have the same environment, as much of the similarities as possible. So our brain knows when I'm sitting here, I'm doing what I should be doing.
Yeah. So it's almost like, I mean, if you had a job, you would show up for the job. Unless you want to get fired, you're going to show up for the job. So the idea here is treat your role as a student like a job. Schedule the study time, and you got to show up every day or you're going to get fired. Show up every day and create the habit. So it's scheduled time. It's not, the biggest mistake is leaving it when you have time and you never have time.
Right.
Yeah.
So you schedule the time. Okay. This is the last study skills question. And this is one of my favorites. I wish I would have known this when I was in school. You ready? All right, Stu, you ready for this?
Ready.
What is the biggest test taking mistake? And actually I should say, what's the biggest test studying mistake? When you study for a test, biggest mistake. Everybody does it. Everybody makes this mistake. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
All right. When you take a test, Stu, what's on the test?
Questions.
Exactly. But what does everybody study?
The answers.
Correct. So what we need to study is what's on the test. And what's on the test is questions. So this is a flip where done right, it's a concept that we call a study guide. And so basically what you do is throughout the semester, you're actually writing your own test questions.
Nice.
So you're thinking in the form of questions and saying, okay, if I were going to ask a test question on this particular topic or this concept that's being presented or whatever I'm reading in the book, what would the test question be, right? Then you write the test question in one column. So you take a sheet of paper, here's your question in one column, and then you write the answer in the right column. And then when it comes time to study, I mean, if you do this throughout the entire semester, you potentially now have a bank of 500 test questions.
Nice.
And then you can study it both ways. You can study the questions, you cover up the answers, and you study the questions because that's what's going to be on the test. And then you can see if you got the right answer, or you can do it in reverse, study the answers, and then look at the questions. So like if you had a date, what happened in 1812? That might be, that's what happened. That's the answer, 1812. Well, what's the question? Well, what was the war that, right? So both ways, but I wish I'd have known that early on.
Mhm.
My studying would have been so much more efficient than it was. So,
And Steve, one of the things, against the school part, not my favorite part of it, right? So this was super helpful for me. So if you have a student that you're thinking of who's like, man, they need this, it's super helpful. And the reason I love when Maria and I talk about Eagle U is we were both sides of the spectrum. Maria was the smart kid who did what was right. We went to do that assembly, and Maria's like, oh, I remember this. I was like, I remember the assemblies because I had to sit next to the teacher. Like they saved me a spot every time, and everyone else got to sit where they wanted. And Maria's like, really? So the reason I'm saying that is my favorite stories is when students come back and they talk to the teachers and they do this informational interview and they combine it with the study guide. We've had plenty of times where the teachers have given them the answers, and like the test was the study guide. So it's just such a different way of thinking that, again, Steve, you use this line that I take from you every time. I gave you credit once and then I just started using it myself, but it's just common knowledge, not commonly used.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally what we're teaching the students at such a young age. It opens their mind. The trajectory of them is so impactful, but
so
the
true.
stories are crazy about the study guides.
All right, we're coming in for a landing here, Matt. This is one of your most favorite things. The most powerful scholarship, job application, get anything you want in life tool. Yeah. Again, this is one that is uncommonly used, and it's the X factor. So powerful. You used it. You leveraged it to do. I mean, if we had time, we could tell all the Matt Granato stories about this one secret. It's amazing. Yeah. What is it?
Let's say what it's not first. It's not a resume.
It is not a resume. Oh,
at all.
Okay. I will tell you this one real quick. Dr. Ed White, who's a Crown Council member, years ago, he called me and he goes, Steve, did you teach my daughter to like type up a fancy resume and send it out to everybody she knows is the way to get a job? And I said, no, Ed, I told her not to do that. He goes, well, would you please clean up your mess because she came to Eagle U and that's what she's doing. And I knew you didn't teach. So I called her up and I said, Liz, why are you sending out resumes? She goes, well, because all my friends are, and I didn't want to feel left out. So I just did what everybody else is doing. If you want to get what everybody else gets, do what everybody else does. If you want to get something different, you have to be willing to do something different. And in this case, Matt, that difference is
called a brag book.
Yep.
Right. It's basically a book of achievements. It's a portfolio of all the things that we've done or I've done that I want people to know about that helps them understand who I am. So we walk the students through things to add, things like any type of letter of recommendation, any award, any club they were in, any leadership position they were in, any write-up that was done about, I mean, you name it, all the things that you as parents save, like the drawings from like first grade to 12th grade. We want to have them put that in there so that they can tell the story of who they are fully, quickly, efficiently, and hit every single personality type along the way. So the people who want to get through it very quickly, they can get through it in less than 60 seconds. The people who want the details, they see the details. It's just a beautiful way of showcasing yourself and standing out in a world that it's very difficult to stand out in. So we teach people how to do it both on an older school model, which is basically printing it out and putting it in a binder, which is still very, very effective. But just with the way the world works, the way we're all over the place with remote working, we also suggest they do even a digital version of it as well. So almost a website they can send their portfolio. The best way to describe it, if you don't understand what that is kind of like an artist with their portfolio, all the work they've done. How do they showcase themselves? And for whatever reason, again, this is why I love what we teach here, is few people would think to go, why don't I do that for myself? Like, why don't I, to tell my story, just walk through what it is we're doing. And it is amazing seeing what some of these students have done and opening their eyes. I think, Steve, this is one of my favorite aha moments during this, is when the students are looking and they're going, oh, I got some of those. I have some of those medals. I got that letter of wait, I can ask for that letter of recommendation back so I can have a copy. I thought we had to send them in and I couldn't access it, right? Or how do we even get a letter of recommendation? Just going through it all.
Keep using them over and over again. All right. 2 more questions. We just trashed the resume. I mean, you got to have one, but it's not a leverage.
It goes in the back of the book, the back of the brag
back of the book. Okay, aside from the brag book, Matt.
Yes.
How do you really get a job without using a resume? And this goes back. This is common sense, but uncommonly practiced. I mean, the data shows it. 80% of the positions are filled in America because somebody knew somebody. Right? It's all the personal connections. So best way to get a job without a resume is
finding mentors. And it's a technique that we teach called 7 circles. And basically all of us are 7 circles away from any other human in this planet.
On the planet. You got it.
And Steve and I, this is a lot of fun because the students and even some of you are probably like, that can't be accurate. And it is. And we get pushback from the students. So we walk them through where they get to pick anybody. Yeah. And sometimes Steve and I we don't even know who they're picking. Like we've never even heard of this person, especially now. It's getting a little harder now. It's all the different influencers. And, but anyway, so then we let the students, just the circle of 200-300 students, go through and go, well, hey, I know this person, or my dad does this, who does this and knows this. And we walk them through the process that none of us are more than 7 steps away, but we have to actually connect with people and meet people and grow with people and build relationships so that people are willing to help us and we can also help others. So it's a fascinating, and I would say, try it yourself. Start asking people, who do you want to meet? I guarantee you, and if you don't believe me, go check your LinkedIn page or your Facebook. You are 7 steps away from somebody on this planet, and teaching that at this young age.
And even less, Matt, if you know Kevin Bacon.
Well, exactly. Then you get all the Hollywood. And that's usually what happens, right? They start going through this but the other thing that we do push, and I think this is important, is we teach them why. Why do you want to meet this person? Because the biggest mistake I found when it came to networking is people go in with a very selfish motive, but that's not a good motive. And because of that, you're not going to actually get where you want to go. If you just want to meet LeBron James to meet LeBron James, you might get an autograph at best, but it's not even going to be a valuable meeting if it was ever happening. But 7 circles, finding mentors, and the relationships, especially in this world right now. I mean, every year it seems like they get more and more valuable. But how do you actually create relationships and keep relationships?
100%. All right, last question. This is one of my favorites because this is it's common sense again, but not very commonly practiced. Biggest career choice mistake. And we talk a lot about this with the students because the typical pattern, and all of us got sucked into this, is the first decision that most students make is, where are you going to go to college? And the number one college choice criteria is where your friends are going. It's like the worst. But yeah, we choose a college, and then when we get there, then we got to choose a major, and then we got to choose a career. That's how most people do it. College, major, career. And what we hold at Eagle U is that's the exact opposite order that you got to make the decisions. So the whole goal of the program is to reverse that ratio. So the process is, if you've got a basic idea, and we show them a way to get an idea early on, if you have a general idea of a direction you want to go, whether it's medicine or science or engineering or whatever it is, that's the first decision. Get a general career direction idea. Then the next question is, if I understand that, then what kind of an education should I get to increase my chances of success in that field? So what should I major in? And then the last question is, where should I go? Where can I go that has a program that has a major where that's one of their, real areas of expertise? What school should I apply to where they really have that level of expertise in a major? So it's exactly the opposite. Again, this goes back to that whole concept of, if you want to get what everybody else gets, do what everybody else does. If you want different results, you got to be willing to do something different. And this is one of those where you reverse engineer it, and there is a way to do that, and you can get a totally different result. So, Matt, thank you for your genius.
Thanks, Matt.
And for sharing with us today. I'm looking forward to our Eagle U session coming up this summer. And Stu, I think we have a short comment from Taylor Lowe, who is our director of Eagle U.
Yeah, me and Taylor, we spent maybe 10 minutes yesterday should we play it at the end here? And
yeah, why don't we can play it as an outtake. And Matt, thank you. Thanks for taking the time today and sharing your experience.
Thank you. Happy to do it. Appreciate you having me as always.
All right, man. Thank you.
See you guys.
All right. Yeah. A little interview with Taylor. She shares a QR code for signing up for Eagle U at the end that we'll put up. And obviously we'll link it with the live stream. But yeah, so this is Taylor. Steve, maybe just explain to everybody what Taylor does. She's so
Taylor is the director of Eagle U. So she is responsible for putting the whole program together and registering all the students, doing all the admission. She is amazing young product of the product. Taylor came through Eagle U as a teenager. She was Miss Colorado when I first met, Miss Teen Colorado when I first met her. And she is amazing and puts together a great program. So she'll give a few details here on how and what's coming up. Our next session for Eagle U is in July. Age group 15 to 50. I mean,
yeah, she says 25. So good.
Yeah. So high school, college age, we have kind of two concurrent sessions that run that is specific to those age groups. So let's take a listen to Taylor.
Let's make sure I share the right thing. All right. You see my screen with the video?
Yes.
Okay, here goes. All right. Welcome to Crown Council live stream. This is a recorded segment with Taylor Lowe. Hi, Taylor.
Hey, how are you?
Hopefully everybody from Crown Council knows Taylor. She is from Eagle U and we were together. Now it feels like a month ago we were at the annual event, but it was just last week.
I know. Time flies, huh?
Time flies. Successful annual event here in Salt Lake City. It was fun to be with you and all the rest of the Crown Council members, but we are going to talk a little bit today about Eagle U. I got to go to Eagle U at Pepperdine when I was 21. So that was like, I don't know, 1943. Just kidding. It was like 2001. I went to Pepper. So fun. So I'm sure, speaking from experience, how incredible the program is and how long it's been around and the principles that it stands behind. But I thought it would be fun to have Taylor on because she's in a similar boat. You were an attendee, right?
I was. Yep. So
we heard from you a few weeks ago that you were an attendee, and then you were like, tell them the story about your goal about where you work right now. Okay, go.
Yeah. So after Eagle U, they teach you to create your vision board, to put all your goals up on your wall so you see them every day. And I was obsessed, I am obsessed with Eagle U full-heartedly. That one of my big goals that I put on that vision board that one day I was going to take over as executive director.
Yes.
So, 5 years ago, I was working in my career in politics, which is also another passion of mine. And Steve called me asking me if I wanted to take that over. And, it just goes to show that dreams really do come true when you put the action behind it that we teach at Eagle U.
So cool. I love it. I actually didn't know that about you. So very cool. Very fun.
Yeah.
Will you talk for just a minute? Pretend you're a student, pretend you're attending. And when you hear students who come back home or you interact with students, what are some of the things that they say after attending Eagle U when they're like, oh man, I'm so glad I went to Eagle U because I,
Yeah.
What is it that you hear from them?
Yeah, well, and I want to start off by saying this. I know, and speaking to a parent, if you have a student that's like, listen, I don't want to go spend a week of my summer vacation on a college campus. I get it. We understand that. And here's what I like to have our parents tell their students, or what I like to tell students directly is, yeah, you're going to give up 5 days of your summer. But what if I told you that if you spend 5 days with us, when you go home, you will be able to spend less time studying, but you will have better grades? Because one of the things we do is we bring in the world memory champion to teach you study skills like you've never learned before, so that you have so much more freedom with your time throughout the year. Is that something you'd be interested in? Because it's a huge component of our program. And I mean, the answer to that is yes. The other thing I really like, and this is really what you boil down to for me personally, is as a student, what are your big dreams in life? Is it to play for the NBA? Is it to become president of the United States? What is that big dream of yours that you really, really want, whatever it might be? Because guess what? We're going to show you how to put action behind it to achieve anything that you really want in life. And I know that sounds like such a blanket statement, but at the end of the day, I mean, that is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that leads into the fact that, guess what? If you have a college or university that you're dying to get into, great, let's show you how to make that happen. And if there's a job that you're trying to get, well, let us show you how to get that job without standing in line with a resume like everybody else.
Yeah. You know, it's hard too, because a lot of the education system that at least I went to, that none of those things that you're talking about are ever addressed, or I was never sat down by anyone in high school or even in college and said, hey, you know, with this education, here's what you're going to be able to do. And that's why it's important for you to study. I was more focused on like, well, I got to get good grades. Well, why?
Right.
What's the point? So when you hear now let's flip the script a little bit. When you hear parents and they come to you and oh, thank you. What do parents say to you about what happens when their kid comes home or
yeah. Steve gets a lot of these text messages from parents after, and verbatim, Stu, a lot of these text messages are, what did you do with my kid? Because the student that they said to Eagle U comes home a completely different student.
Yeah.
And one of the moms who actually I got to speak with at the annual event this year, she sent her daughter last year, and she came up to me and was telling me about her success story, saying, you know, my daughter had X, Y, and Z struggles before Eagle U. We were a little bit nervous sending her, not thinking, you know, how would she do in this type of environment? She goes and, you know, flip to now a year later, and her confidence and just overall self-worth has just multiplied. She's a completely different kid.
Dang, cool. I love it.
It's magic.
What Taylor would specifically lead to that? Like what is it? Can you give a couple examples of what happens at Eagle U that would do that for a parent? Yeah, go ahead.
When your student walks into our doors, we have a group of individuals that genuinely care about them as individuals. They have read their bios ahead of time, and they are there to love and to pour into your kids for 5 straight days. So we are going to build up their self-confidence and their self-esteem. We are going to help them figure out what they really want in life, how to get it, how to find mentors that are going to help them along the way. There is a whole process that, you know, Steve Anderson and the whole Eagle U crew have put together over the last 30 years, and it works. I mean, we talk about it internally at Eagle U that there is this shift about day 2 of the program where their eyes are different when they walk into the room, and they're standing up taller because they're realizing that, you know, they're in this environment that's unlike anything they've experienced in this outside world.
Very cool.
And I know it's hard to describe until you've been there. It's like a, you know, it's an intangible thing. The hardest part of my job is actually describing Eagle U to people.
Yeah. Well, if you are out there and you are interested in being part, so let's say I've got a parent, they're ready to go. I'm sharing my screen now. This is eagleuniversity.org. Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so your website. I want my kid to attend in 2023. What do we do? Yeah.
You click that register now button up at the top. It'll take you to a registration page called Camp Brain. Yep. So if you click on the left, submit application. From there, you will get emails and phone calls from me after you've submitted your paperwork, and I'll take you through that entire program, or all the logistics. And if you do have questions on logistics, you know, what does travel look like? What is packing? All those kind of questions. If you click on the currently enrolled tab up at the very top right of the page, it will take you to a landing page that answers really any question you can really think of. So I encourage you to look through that tab as well. And our program this year will be July 10th through the 14th in the Kansas City area. If you fly your kids in, we pick them up from the airport in private transportation. They stay with us on campus, and then we take them back.
Homesickness letter. This is great.
Yep.
With Jeff Anderson, my cousin.
Yes. Yeah.
This is awesome. Okay. And then, Taylor, I wanted to talk for just a minute. It was such a fun thing at the annual event. Dr. Jeff Gray, one of the doctors of Crown Council, he went home early. He had something going on at home, but I know that he provided money or a scholarship to some students that are attending Eagle U. Can you talk about that to Crown Council members, what that opportunity looks like?
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
So Jeff Gray came up to me and he said, hey, take this. I want to provide 5 scholarships, which is amazing because I have a waiting list of kids just waiting for people to donate money to provide to that scholarship fund. So with the money that he donated, there was actually a mom in the audience who had been waiting on our scholarship list. And I was able to walk up to her at that very event and say, hey, guess what? Because of this incredible man and his generosity, your daughter now gets to come to our program.
Nice.
So when you donate to Eagle U, it's not some far away, organization. It's the kids and the families that are sitting next to you that you're impacting.
Very good, Taylor. Eagle U, absolutely the best. I'm so grateful. It's really fun that you get to focus on Eagle U all year. I mean, this is like all you do is make this program absolutely incredible for these kids. And maybe remind us the ages that can attend.
So 15 to 25 is what we say age-wise, but if you have a student that's going into high school, they're 14 and a half, that still qualifies.
Okay.
When parents ask me what the best age is, I went when I was 15. It was incredible. I went back as a team leader all the way up until my early 20s and had just as incredible of an experience. So there is no best age to come. No matter what age you send your kid, it does wonders, and you can send them multiple times.
Very cool. All right, Taylor, I'm going to include a link with our live stream here today and make sure everybody can connect with you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks.
Love it. She's the best. Oh, I think you're still muted, Stu.
Oh, sorry.
There
I turned
you go.
my mic off. She's just
Thanks for sharing that.
she's
great.
so enthusiastic. She's the best.
She loves what she does.
Hey, I'm going to share this QR code just in case anybody wants to screen capture it right now. Is that it? Can you see it?
It is very visible.
Okay, very good. Let's we'll leave you here. This will take you right to the registration page for Eagle U 2023. And hopefully we can get that thing packed, Steve. That'll be really fun.
It's a great experience for everybody who participates. It's awesome.
Very good. All righty, man. Thanks.
Hey, it was great today. Thank you. Ben,
You
thanks
bet.
for everybody for joining us, and especially all of our guests today.
You want to give a teaser for next week, what we're doing?
Oh, yes. So next week, if you want to get some hot marketing ideas, the entire hour is going to be packed, with practice marketing as we get prepped up for the Dental Digital Marketing Conference. I'm going to have some guests here that'll share some of their genius. So make sure and tune in next week for Marketing Hour on Crown Council Live.
Very cool. Thanks, Steve. We'll see you next week, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.